If you live in this area and tornadoes coming your way, this is where you want to be. Hey, happy September 19th on a Tuesday. And you know, as Dorothy told Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. That's true, because we have just crossed the line and we're entering into the next state,
Oklahoma.
the state of Oklahoma. And we've actually done one kids crusade in Oklahoma several years ago. So it's going to be an incredible week of just pedaling and praying across the state of Oklahoma. And we just kind of fell in love with Kansas and the people there, and we just saw God do some amazing things this last week. I can't wait to see what God's going to do in Oklahoma this week.
It's okay with me.
Oh.
Oklahoma.
So this will be a fun week because we're trying to examine the map and figure out what would be the best route to take across the state and where the Lord would lead us and who we'll be meeting. So hey, let's do this. Let's see what's down the road.
Okay.
Hey, welcome to Oklahoma. Something tells me that that is about to change. My shoulder's gone, and it looks like there might be some rain out there. Hey, happy September 20th. I think it's a Wednesday, and I'm about 30 miles into the ride today, and I'm in the town of Selling, Oklahoma, and this is going to be one of those milestone days because we've already come over 1,000 miles. I'm not exactly sure how many, but I know it's more than 1,000. And we've been following almost exclusively Highway 281. And so here in Selling, Oklahoma, we are actually leaving Highway 281 and we're heading west on Highway 60. And then we're going to take another highway south. And so I think that's our plan that we kind of came up with this afternoon eating lunch. So a beautiful place, Oklahoma. If I find a convenience store, I might stop and get something really cold to drink, ice cold water. We spent last night in a little town called Minoka, and parked in front of a church, and we met Pastor Bill and some people from the congregation, and we just began to share what we're believing God for as a country. We're asking God to pour out His Spirit in a mighty way all the way across the United States. And it was just a wonderful time because our heart and our passion was the same as this pastor's. He's just wanting to see people saved. You know, I called a pastor up on the phone yesterday and I said, you know, we're not from Oklahoma. Hey, what are you believing God for? And the first thing he said was, we want to see people saved. And so I'm looking for a convenience store and I haven't seen it yet. 183. Oh, here's a Jiffy Trip. Standing out in front of the Jiffy Trip. Oh, we got a tractor coming by us, making a little noise. But they tell me these Jiffy Trips have been around for over 50 years, and this is actually the first Jiffy Trip I've ever been in. I gotta taste their water, see if it's any good. That's refreshing. I think I've got another 25 miles to go at least today, depending on how I feel when I get there. If I have a tailwind, I might keep going. But this is the corner. This is the corner where we depart from 281. I asked the people inside if they knew where they were going when this life was over, and they said, we sure do, but they didn't elaborate. And I asked them if there was anything I could pray with them about, and they said, we're good. But praying across Oklahoma, they said this has really been a wet winter. It's usually drier than this, but it's a beautiful day, probably in the mid 80s. Not too hot, a little bit humid. But hey, let's pedal down the road and see what we can find. I kind of feel like I'm on the top of the world in Oklahoma. Look over here and look at all the windmills. I just came through some real red clay looking canyons, and I think I'm coming on the back side of it, and so hopefully we'll have a little bit of Oklahoma downhill. Look at this. It's just a really unique place. And as I'm coming out of this hill, I've got some curvy downhill roads, I think. Hey, good morning. Welcome to Putnam, Oklahoma. And behind me is a tornado shelter. And if you live in this area and tornadoes coming your way, this is where you want to be. As you see that twirling storm on the horizon and it's heading your way, what you want to do is come down in here, get inside this this shelter and close the door. This will give you some protection against the coming storm. You know, as a Christian, we know and realize that Jesus is our shelter in the midst of a storm. When we see a storm coming our way, we know this is that Jesus is our ever-present help in time of need. And we run to him. He told us, he said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. He's our shelter. I'm so glad we serve a big God.